Blessed be everyone. Blessed be, and welcome to another live stream where we're talking about self doubt and magic. So, that's our own personal self doubts about ourselves and our skills around magic. So, we're going to talk about what some of the common beliefs are that a lot of people may share and what you can do about those beliefs so that you're feeling more confident with your magic. Hello, everybody. Hi, Vicky. Yes, this is the right place. Hi, Dwight. And phone says 801. Waiting on Mystery Witch School. Yes, I had an internet glitch just then. So hopefully it won't glitch again. Okay. Yes, we're right on time, unlike a lot of other people who do live streams who often aren't on time. So, for those of you who are new to Mystery Witch School, welcome to Mystery Witch School. What we talk about on this channel is magic, witchcraft, tarot, as well as shadow work. And the whole point of Mystery Witch School is to help you bring the craft into your life in a way that gives your life purpose, meaning, and connection to yourself, connection to your higher purpose, for it to help you really tap into your potential and to help you connect to that potential. Often we get so caught up in the world around us and what's going on outside of ourselves that we feel like something's missing. And no matter what's going on materially, if it's really good stuff, and you can do magic, of course, for things. Sometimes there's just something missing. It's like you can't put your finger on it, and that's more of a spiritual need or a psycho spiritual need, and that's that connection to spirit, that connection to that divine energy, the god goddess energy, uh, whatever you want to call it, essentially. And to realize that we live in a magical universe and we are here to create and experience things. So, with the craft, it's an opportunity to be able to explore that and also to bring that into your life on a daily basis. So, that's how I like to flow with witchcraft and Wicca or other forms also of magic, and as a path for that joy and that happiness and that sense of empowerment. So that's what this channel is about. That's why I talk about shadow work as well as magic and also various other aspects of psycho spirituality. Okay, welcome, Koraka, Arc Dragon. Hello and welcome. For those of you who would like to start your witchcraft practice, but you just don't know where to start, that can be confusing. There's a lot of information out there. I do have a free video. It's called How to Start Your Witchcraft Practice. Now, there's a link in the description field below this video, and I'm also just looking for the link to actually put in the chat as well so that you can have a look at that and just watch that video if you want to know how to start. Where do I start, and how do I learn, how do I work through all the processes, and how do I learn what's what, and all of that. You learn it piece by piece, bit by bit. You don't learn it all in one hit. That is really the key there. So that's the Mystery Witch School's How to Start Your Witchcraft Practice there. And please like and subscribe, share the videos, share this if you feel that it's going to help somebody and benefit someone. There's super chat there, there's super thanks there if you want to help support the channel. Always appreciated. And I'll also let you know at the end of the live how you can learn more and get more on your path with witchcraft and more of an eclectic form of Wicca, so that you can really bring this into your life in a way that gives you that joy and that happiness and that peace. Hi, Nick. Blessed be. Awesome. So let's just jump straight into the topic. So my name is Sandra. I don't know if I mentioned that at the beginning for those of you who are new. I've been I started practicing witchcraft probably now, it's pretty close to well over 30 years now. I'm probably up to maybe 35 years. I've lost count. And I've also gone through other traditions as well, and come back to the craft with a lot of, I guess, a lot of personal experience and various different methodologies of approaching the craft, approaching magic, approaching spirituality. That's not just traditional witchcraft. It's also the things that have been researched in the quantum field, as well as other neuroscience research, epigenetics, all that kind of thing, has informed what I do. So that's what also makes this channel quite unique. Okay, so let's begin with these limiting beliefs. And what are limiting beliefs to start off with? They're beliefs that are limiting you. They're beliefs that are stopping you from being able to do the things you want to do on one hand, and also stopping you from feeling the way you would like to feel. I think for most of us, we want to feel connected, we want to feel joy, we want to feel love, we want to feel peace, we want to feel all of these good feelings. And we often go to magic to try to find those feelings through doing spells for things to happen or for situations to occur, and for the order things to show up in our lives. And a lot of the time, magic is seen as being something that you use to get stuff or have certain experiences with situations. And the whole reason we do that is because we're wanting to feel a certain way. We're looking for those external things for us to feel good and to feel safe and all of those things. But magic can be so much more than that. And any self-doubt that you may have about your ability to be able to do magic or how good you might be at magic is going to influence how you enjoy magic, whether you actually take the step and start practicing magic even, or even start exploring the craft in more detail. And also, it'll affect the success of your magic too, to quite a large extent. So it's looking at how you're limiting yourself through maybe some beliefs, and I'm going to go through some common beliefs and talk about them. Okay, self-doubt, regardless of results, is my conflicted thoughts due to religious upbringing versus self-discovery, regardless of proofs. Yes, and oh yeah, our religious and social upbringing really does interfere with our beliefs about ourselves and magic, because up until very, very recently, the dominant religion in Western culture anyway was Christianity. And it is all about we're powerless, and the Christian God is all powerful. And so we're just puppets, basically being puppeted around by this great puppeteer. And so we're powerless under that old paradigm. Whereas magic says pretty much the opposite. It's you're not powerless. You actually do co-create with the universe, to use a more modern term. And we have a lot more influence over what happens to us in our lives and what we experience than we've been led to believe we do. And magic is about taking that initiative and being able to create those experiences that we want, which goes against the whole control mechanism of a lot of those controlling religions, such as Christianity and other religions as well. So some of these beliefs are pretty common. You may have some yourself. They may be strong, they may not be strong, but you're not alone if you have them. And if you want to share some of your limiting beliefs about your ability to do magic, or what you've heard other people maybe say, then yeah, put them in the comments field or put them in the chat if you're on the live. So the first one I wanted to talk about was the belief that I'm not skilled enough to perform effective spells. And yes, to some degree, magic is a skill, of course, because there's things that you do need to do in magic to be able to be really good at magic if you're doing it consciously. Often we can do magic on unconsciously as well, and that just happens as it happens. Some things are easier to manifest than other things. So there can be a fear that we're not skilled enough. Magic can sometimes be, I think historically, it's been seen as being something only some people can do. And so if you want a spell or if you want something to happen, you have to go to a professional in order to have that happen. And that is, I think, a big part still of many cultures, including Western culture. So there's a lot of background to why you may feel like you're not skilled enough to be able to do effective magic. But the truth is, magic isn't technically difficult. It's more the application of it that demands time and focus and energy. It's your doing. It's the doing, you turning up for yourself and applying yourself to doing the magic and practicing those things on a regular basis that gets you good at it. And so it is something everybody can cultivate and everybody has the ability to do. In many ways, we're doing it anyway. So magic is about being consciously creating what it is that we want. And the skills are really the skills of your own ability to concentrate, your ability to know what it is that you want and understand why you want it. What's the outcome? What are you looking to achieve from doing a work of magic? How do you want to feel at the end of it? What are you looking for? Getting clear on those things. And I talk about this quite a bit. I'll give you another free link too in the Spellcaster checklist. So this is a free PDF that I give out. It's also on in the description field below this video. It's called the Spellcaster checklist. It goes over probably the most essential thing that you need for spell casting, and that's clarity about what it is that you want and the ability to be able to concentrate long enough so that you can put yourself in the feeling and the vision of already experiencing what it is that you want. And that doesn't mean you have to force a feeling. It just means you use your imagination to imagine you are already experiencing what it is you want to experience, and then just allow the feeling to go from there. So you're not trying to force a feeling, you're just using your imagination. And that's the strongest aspect of magic, is that aspect. And there's research that people have been doing over the last couple of decades on this. I often mention Lynn McTaggart. I mention Joe Dispenza. There are others out there that talk about this. Bruce Lipton talks about it. They approach it, I guess, more from a scientific kind of perspective, to get more credibility about it out there. And it is good to have a look at this from a more scientific perspective of epigenetics or neuroscience, quantum science, in order to understand maybe how this is possibly working. And a lot of it is to do with ourselves. With magic, there's also other tools that we use. We use candles, we use crystals, and I think a lot of the time people get hung up on those things. Like, I don't know what crystals to use. I don't know what herbs I should be using, and what if I use the wrong herbs, and all of these things. Whilst they are an aspect of magic and they can help boost the energy or amplify the energy, you are actually where the magic is, and it's really about you being able to use your imagination. That's the key skill, really, is using your imagination. So that is something you can practice. Okay, so if you don't have that skill to be able to imagine yourself already experiencing what it is that you want for 60 seconds, then that's a skill you have to acquire through just doing concentration exercises every day. Skills are something you can acquire. So it's not like you can't do it. Just if you feel you don't have enough skills, then just do some practice with whatever it is that you feel you don't have enough of. Now, sometimes you may feel you're not skilled enough when you actually are skilled enough. It might just be how you're applying yourself that's blocking you. And if you do share that belief, I'm not skilled enough to be able to be successful in magic or cast successful spells, where do you think you're not skilled enough? What area is it? And where are you feeling the struggle? Because that's going to be helpful for you to know whether that's real. Is that true? Or is it just a belief that you have? Beliefs aren't necessarily real. Situations can be real, but the beliefs around them are not necessarily true. And that's a big difference. Okay, so we've got hello everyone, blessed be. Thank you, Sandra, for talking about this on your channel. Make me feel more confident. Awesome. When I perform my magic. Great. Okay, so if you do feel you need skills, check those skills out, but don't get caught up in, oh, I need to know all the crystal magic. Oh, I need to know all the herbs. Oh, I need to know this. Oh, I need to do that. And I've got to know it now. You don't have to know it now. Just learn to feel into the wish fulfilled and take care of those aspects first, and then incorporate those aspects of magic, like your tools, like candles, like herbs, like crystals, as you go. Okay, and I'll also talk about the Witch's Guide to Magic, which is a course that I have that teaches you how to be a really good spellcaster and how you can do that really simply. You don't need a lot of stuff, and how to apply yourself with all of those areas of love, prosperity, wellness, and protection. So I'll talk a bit more about that at the end, and if it comes up during this as well. So number 2 belief is that my spells won't work because I lack formal initiation or lineage. So this probably comes in more from the ways of working that come from the old maybe mystery schools, which, you know, in and of themselves are long gone, really. We've got modern versions of them, but they're not necessarily connected to the original ones. They're something that people have started up again. There's also the whole Wiccan thing, that you have to be a Wiccan initiate, that you have to be involved in that within a lineage. It's got to go all the way back to Gerald Gardner, that kind of thing. And so some people may feel that, or with ceremonial magic, similar sort of thing. You may feel that because I don't have that connection to that lineage or that tradition, that I'm not going to be able to do effective magic. But the truth is, once again, that we're all magical beings, so you don't need to belong to a lineage or a tradition to practice magic. Magic is for everybody, everyone. If you can use your imagination in some way, shape, or form, you may not be great at visualizing, maybe you're great at hearing in your imagination, or smelling in your imagination, or touching in your imagination, or moving in your imagination. If you can apply your imagination, if you can daydream, then you can do magic. And magic isn't daydreaming, but if you have the ability to daydream, if you have the ability to worry about the future, who has the ability to worry about things and worry about the future that hasn't happened yet? Who's got that ability? If you've got that ability, you can do magic, because it's the same principle, exactly the same principle. You're just swapping emotions you want to feel and situations you want to experience for the ones you're worried about. So that isn't true. You can be a witch all on your own. Number 3 is I don't have the right tools or ingredients for effective magic. Now, I did touch on this with number 1, in that I can't afford crystals. I can't afford all those herbs. I can't get those herbs where I live. Even candles. Some people can't use candles where they live because of restrictions with fire hazards and all of that. So there can be limitations with your ability to be able to use tools. You could be limited simply because you live in a household where you don't want people to know that you're practicing the craft, and so you've got to keep under the radar and stay in the broom closet. And unless you want to actually go into your closet and do a spell, then you probably have to find other ways of working magic without having all of those tools. And like, once again, it comes back to your imagination and your ability to be able to put yourself regularly in that feeling state of already having what it is that you want, and really working on your imagination. A lot of the techniques of the older magicians, so Franz Baden, for example, was a magician. He wrote a book on hermetics. I've forgotten what it's called now. I do have it, but I can't remember the name of it. I think it was called Introduction to Hermetics. And it's basically about an introduction to magic. And his lessons are really about the imagination. He doesn't use any tools or anything other than working on your imagination, working on your concentration, working on your ability to be able to have more control over your thoughts, hence then your feelings. And that's pretty much that whole book, a whole big volume book written by a magician that is all about using the imagination and concentration and really getting good at using those skills. No, not necessarily needing the herbs or the crystals. They're great to use. They amplify the magic, and they can help amplify your feeling as well and your imagination, because the scent of things can affect you psychologically. Looking at the crystals and even holding them energetically can affect you. And so they're tools that assist with magic, but they're not the tools that do the magic for you. You're the one who does the magic. Okay, let's have a look at some more comments. Blessed be Juniper. Hello, Kawaii Goddess. I had a bad habit of believing things are much more difficult than they actually are. So this is definitely a lesson I needed to hear. I feel much more optimistic. Yes, it doesn't have to be difficult. I know some people like difficult magic, and if you're attracted to ceremonial magic or Enochian magic or anything where there's a lot of ritual and ceremony, then you will be attracted to that kind of magic, and it's got its place, and it's for certain types of people who like that kind of structure and like to work within that more intellectual framework, and it's a bit more of a heady framework, whereas witchcraft's more grounded in earth-based things and working more with the energies of the earth and those kinds of things. So it's just a different way of working with our ability to create. They're both valid, they're just different. And different people are attracted to different things. Okay, any basic spells to bring in money? We all need that now. Yes, basic spells for money. One really good spell for money, and you do need cash for this, is to get your cash and to bless it with an oil, a magical oil. And if you're using your own name and initials, put some oil and initial it with the oil. And then as you spend it, you say, return to me tenfold or 20-fold, or how many times you want to multiply it by. Cash is great to work with for magic. It's better than working with cards and things. And I don't know what will happen when they really try to force the cashless thing and make it all digital currency, because it's going to be we're going to have to learn different ways of working with magic. And that's a really easy way to work with it. And you could use olive oil for that. You don't want to be too oily, you just want a little speck of oil. You don't want to make the whole thing greasy. But it's a good anointing your money, blessing your money, thanking your money, just little rituals, little things like that. Because money is energy from a magical perspective. So we're working with energy, and if you're looking at it more from an animistic perspective, where we see the divine in everything, even objects, then there's like a spirit of money as well. So how do you, you know, honor and bless, mutually? If you want the money to honor and bless you, then how do you bless your money and the spirit of money? So there's really simple little things like that. A spell, if you like working with candles, green candle. If you don't have anything else but olive oil, use olive oil to dress that candle, starting from the tip of the candle and working all the way down to the bottom of the candle. I have a whole series of spells in my course called The Witch's Guide to Magic in the Prosperity and Success section for things like money, whether that's to get money, or whether that's to keep money, invest money, all of the things that you would probably want with money. There's spells in there, really simple spells to do that. And I think I've got some money spells also on this channel as well. Okay, now number 4 is that I'm afraid of negative consequences or unintended outcomes from my spells. So this is a common one, again, because of all of the myths around magic that have been perpetrated to stop people from practicing it. Beliefs in some religions that, magic's evil, it's the work of the devil and all of that kind of thing. That if you do magic, then you're going to, attract all these negative forces because magic's a bad thing. And that's really where that belief comes from when it comes to just magic in general. Magic's very neutral. It's up to the practitioner as to how you use your magic. You can use it for harm or you can use it for positive things. And that will determine the results that you get and also can determine what you're bringing to yourself in regards to other entities and also experiences that the universe will be mirroring back to you. So the thing with magic is if you're doing magic for positive things, like to bring in more love into your life, to bring more prosperity into your life, more health into your life, success, whether that's artistic success or if you've got a career success, if you're bringing things in and they're positive things, like they're things that are uplifting and positive for you, then you're going to be attracting those positive things. If you're doing magic to harm other people or things, and it's full of anger, if it's full of resentment, if it's full of all of those emotions that are quite low on the vibratory scale, then you're more likely going to attract more of that. So more situations that will cause the anger, more situations that cause the resentment, and possibly also other negative things as well. So it really depends on the magic that you're doing. People sometimes also worried about negative consequences. Like, let's take money, for example. If I do a money spell and then Aunt Betty dies and leaves me an inheritance, did I kill Aunt Betty? And the answer is no, you didn't kill Aunt Betty. She the universe finds the path of, I guess, least resistance when it comes to bringing you things. So if Aunt Betty's higher self said to Aunt Betty, okay, it's your time now, and you just happen to need money at that time, it just happens to be lining up. That's all. It's not like you've caused Aunt Betty to die. It's just your need for the money and her need to leave the planet have lined up. That money could have come from somewhere else. If Aunt Betty wasn't in that particular situation and ready to go, then that money would have come from somewhere else. So that's kind of how it works. It just lines things up that are easy and convenient for you to have. That may be convenient for you because it's something you're experiencing both at the same time. But it's not that you've made that happen. Okay. So don't worry about those kinds of things there. Another example of where you can attract things maybe that you or have unintended circumstances is if you're really focused on a particular outcome. So I have to have that particular job because you think that is the best job for you, that that's where you're going to be happy, but it might not necessarily be the case. So you may do a spell to get that job, and then that job turns out to be the job from hell, or that there's something not quite great about it. That could be an example of not the magic's giving you bad intentions, but just simply because your intention, your focus on that being the only result has given you something that if you'd been more relaxed with where you got the job perhaps, and you focus more on the type of job you want and be open to where that might be, then you might have actually ended up being lined up with a better job. That was the same with love spells. I have had people come to me saying, I did a love spell on this guy and now he's obsessed with me and I don't know what to do about it. So those can be unintended consequences of doing a spell, is that you could end up with the attention that you don't actually want as your end result. So allow a certain element of your higher self to bring in the things that are good for you. Be aware of what you want and be specific in regards to the things you like doing and what you like to be involved in, but allow the magic or the universe to bring it to you in the way that it comes. Don't focus so much on it has to be this specific thing, because the more specific you go, sometimes the harder it can be to actually manifest it, because that means more things have to line up and it can take longer, and there's other factors involved in the universe apart from yourself. Okay, number 5. I am not connected to the spiritual realm or my intuition enough. So a lot of us feel we're not connected to our intuition to practice magic. And that's just a matter of practice. It's about practicing connecting to your intuition, practicing connecting to yourself. And you can do all of those things through journaling, through meditation, through practices. Magic isn't something that you can just go, okay, now I'm going to do it, not having had any experience at all or any knowledge at all. It's something that you do have to put your time into to learn to do things. You have to make time for magic and include it in your lifestyle on a regular basis. That's the whole point of my Mystery Witch School 101 course, is to help you bring magic and spirit, that spirituality into your life on a daily basis, so that you can start to connect more with your intuition and connect more to spirit. So you're learning how to connect to deities, to the elements, or if you're working with other spirits, how to listen and how to connect. And it's something that you learn to do, and it comes from practicing these things. So even if you feel you can't do it because you maybe haven't had the ability to actually take the time to sit down and learn how to do it over a period of time, or you feel it has to happen immediately, allow yourself the time to practice the practices of meditation, of connecting to the god and goddess on a regular basis over a period of time. And then you'll start to see that you'll learn to tune into your intuition. You'll learn how to do these things. So again, it's a matter of practice and knowing what to practice. That's why I have the Mystery Witch School. That's why I have the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy, the 12-month course in practicing Wicca and witchcraft from a magical point of view as well as a spiritual point of view. It's to help you get that practice of connecting to yourself. The Witch's Guide to Magic course is to help you with just magic on its own. So how do you become a better spellcaster? So whilst there's that aspect in the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy, the Witch's Guide to Magic is just totally on magic. So that's why I have those courses there. It's to teach those things in more detail and in a structured way that I can't do on YouTube. You can't really do the whole structured thing here. So it's a way of getting that structure. And structure is important to some extent in our lives. We need a bit of a balance of flexibility and also that structure in order to be able to progress and learn and grow. So don't concern yourself about not being connected to the spiritual realm or intuition at this stage. Learn to practice the practices. I do have a video on this channel about meditation too. And number 6 is others are more gifted or have stronger magical abilities than I do. Now, that may be true. It may be true, it may not be true. Everybody's got their forte, everybody's got their skills. Some people are really psychic and they can see spirits, they can talk to spirits. They're constantly in communication with the spiritual world. Other people are like, gee, I have no concept of, I don't see anything. Sometimes it may be even hard to feel something at the time. You can cultivate these skills and get better at it. You can learn what your skills are or what you're naturally more inclined towards. So just because somebody you know may be great at clairvoyance doesn't mean that you're not psychic in some way. It just means that maybe you're clairsentient, where you feel things rather than see things. You might hear things rather than see things. You may have more conceptual connection to the other realms and to your intuition. So things come to you through packets of thought or ideas rather than see things. So don't think that just because you're not seeing spirits or hearing them, that you're not connected to the spiritual realm in some way, or that you don't have your gifts. Some people are great at magic in general, but not so great at being able to connect to the other realm. Some people are great at doing all the psychic connection, but may struggle with aspects of magic. So you just have to find what you're good at and understand that that's your forte. And if you want to get better at the other things, then you can spend more time working on those if you want to. But you don't have to be clairvoyant to be a witch. You don't have to see dead people to be a witch. You can still practice magic without all of those other things, if that's not where your strengths lie. Okay, number 7, magic is not real, or it's just wishful thinking. Now, this can be a belief too that a lot of us have, particularly if you're of more of the sort of scientific bent and question, is magic real, or am I just making this up? Am I really intuiting this, or is this just my psychology and my imagination? Am I really feeling the presence of my grandmother who's on the other side, or is it just, because I've been thinking about her, and so, I'm imagining that I'm feeling her presence. There's all these things we can say to ourselves because we live in a very scientific world now. It's everything's about the science, and we're very materialistic in that sense. It's all about scientism. That's a religion within itself. Science is a religion within itself these days. And so it's understandable that we can be skeptical about magic and about our experiences. The thing is, though, what is it that you really want? And don't be afraid to experiment with magic. Don't be afraid to try things just for the sake of seeing whether it's going to work or not. Like simple things, like doing magic for simple things and seeing them come into your life. Experimenting with those kinds of things, keeping an open mind and allowing yourself even to go, well, yeah, maybe it is just, I was thinking of grandma and then I felt her presence. So maybe it's just, my imagination, or maybe I was thinking of her. And so she was attracted to my thoughts. She saw that I was thinking of her. And so she's come in to say hello. It could be either one of those things, or other variations of it. And you can allow yourself to be open to both possibilities. You don't have to choose one or the other. You can entertain both ideas. You can say, well, I do feel that grandma was there, or uh, it could have been psychological, but it was a really nice feeling that she was there. And so, I really feel in my heart that that feels to be the truth. And then you don't necessarily have to go and argue these things with people. You don't have to try and prove anything. It's about you living a life in a way that gives you joy and meaning and helps open your heart to feeling love and connection to who you are and having a life that has meaning and joy for you. That is important. And unfortunately, science can't help us there. Science cannot help us feel better about ourselves. Science cannot help us feel better about who we are and what what we're doing here, or help us with our potential at all. It can't. It's too busy trying to weigh and measure everything. And if it doesn't have the ability to do that in the way that it likes to do it, then it ends up just believing it's not there. And yeah. Okay. I'm planning a DUME spell for the protection of the greater good. Will karma be too much because of the extreme measures taken? I don't know what a DUME spell is, so you'll have to let me know what that is. So it's for the greater good. So you're looking at it on a mass level. I'm not good with acronyms. So if you're looking at something on a mass level, you kind of need help on a mass level too. If you're trying to affect something en masse, then it's good to have a group of people who are doing the same thing, are focusing on exactly the same thing, so that the energy is exponentially increased. And that has a very strong effect en masse. If more and more people are focusing on the same thing, it increases the energy and the mindset and the thinking, the thought forms on that level as well. That's why we can get into situations where, like, for example, let's go back to the witch hunts back in the Middle Ages, where people were seeing witches left, right, and centre, accusing people of witchcraft. And, we had the great, all the witch trials and everything. People, when there's a thought form and everybody starts to latch onto it out of fear, it ends up getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And that's an example of what happened back then. So if you're wanting to help raise the vibe of the planet and bring more consciousness and healing to the planet, then it's been able to have more and more and more and more and more people focusing on these things, and then that increases that energy for more people to come along. Okay. I've noticed people like Billy Carson and Terence Crawford are starting a conversation in society on how physics and the metaphysical blend and everything is really one. Interesting. Oh, yeah. Look, it's kind of like there's a bit of well, there always is a polarity, but there seems to be a really strong polar thing going on, where on one hand you've got a lot more people getting interested in this sort of thing, whether that is witchcraft or whether that is law of attraction or law of assumption or some other version of it. People are interested more in taking a more of a connection, looking for that connection. We are in the age of Aquarius. And then you've got this other side, which still seems to be quite dominant in ideology, that we've got this, it's science, it's got to be the science. And it's all these scientists come out who, they change their mind every 10 years. They find something else and go, oh, no, sorry, we were wrong. This is how it is now. Oh, no, sorry, that's not how it is. Oh, it's this now. They're always changing. And there seems to be quite an interesting thing going on between those two ways of being. Okay. Good morning from Malaysia. Good morning. Okay. So I believe magic is real. I don't believe that it's just wishful thinking. And experiment with it. Experiment, experiment, experiment. Be the scientist and experiment and see whether these things happen for you when you do apply yourself to the magic. Keep an open mind and experiment. Number 8 is I don't deserve to have my desires fulfilled through magic. This is so interesting one that still seems to be around even within the magical community. And I find that fascinating. Back in the 1990s, I think it was, when the first version of Charmed was out, there was this thing that you can't do magic for personal gain. And it's almost like people believe that to be true, that you shouldn't be using magic to do things because there's a price to pay and all this thing. We are spiritual beings. We are creative beings. We are here to do magic. We are here to create. We are here to use this skill. The price we pay is the time and the effort of learning to do the skill and doing the skill. It does come at a price. Yes, it comes at time and energy. We do have to expend something in order to get something. That is the price. It's our time and our energy. Whatever other thing is going on in what people believe may be coming from other traditions, it may be coming from past restrictions on magic, things that people are told to stop them from practicing magic. All of those things are, in my experience anyway, don't appear to be real. The cost is time and energy. That is the cost. And there's a cost to everything. Everything comes at some kind of a price, whether that's a material price or whether that's an energetic price. If we want stuff, we usually have to expend energy in order to get it. And that is the biggest thing, because everything is energy. So it's energy moving around, going from place to place, giving and taking energy, all of that kind of thing. And that's what we do when we're doing magic. We're giving and we're giving energy, we're taking and we're giving, and it's this thing of energy flow. And so that is the cost. That is the price. I usually use sound and frequency whenever I practice my magic. The channel is Music Magic and chanting Ayan Katya Hecate. It gives me more strong inner self, and the energy is very intense. Yes, using sound frequency, yeah, it's that vibration, it's the energy. Sound is amazing to use in magic because everything's vibrating. Sound is, vibration that we can feel as much as we can hear it. And it moves through our bodies and it vibrates our body. And even moving, when we move, like we get the impulse to dance or sway to music, or if you're chanting, you might have the impulse sometimes to sway a bit with the chant, to move with the chant. That's the energy moving through the body. And as we move our bodies, we're also accumulating energy and as well as expending energy and moving the chi around in our bodies too. So yeah, it's a great way to work with magic, with music. The other one, and deserving can be just deserving in general. Sometimes people don't believe they deserve what it is they're doing the magic for, because I don't deserve to have that great job because of all kinds of reasons. And these are often beliefs we pick up in childhood about our ability to be able to deserve to have something, because maybe in childhood you grew up in an environment where you may have been told you didn't deserve something, or you've assumed you didn't deserve something because of the way the adults were behaving around you. And this carries through into adulthood. So when it comes to doing magic for things, sometimes what stifles the magic isn't that you're not doing the magic properly. It's simply that you don't believe that you deserve, so you're kind of putting in an energetic block on having the outcome you want, because it's almost like you're pushing it away unconsciously. So even though consciously you want that experience, Subconsciously, you're saying, no, I don't deserve it. It's not safe. A lot of that can be relationships, can be that. Sometimes there's maybe a belief that you don't deserve a happy relationship. You may feel you don't deserve good friendships. You may feel you don't deserve to be healthy. You may feel you don't deserve to be wealthy or prosperous. You may feel that you don't deserve sometimes even to be safe. There's all kinds of beliefs around these things that will affect those aspects of magic. So challenge those beliefs. Don't just believe them because they feel real. A thought will create an emotional experience. So these are chemical reactions that are going on in the body, electrical and chemical reactions going through the body. And that's why thoughts feel real, because they're creating an emotional experience. So you're feeling real in your body. But that doesn't mean that thought's correct. Even if it's feeling real, that's just the thought. You can change that. Okay. The next one is, I'm afraid of judgment or ridicule from others if they knew I practice magic. So, okay, that's a realistic belief too, because that does happen. And it can also be dangerous too for some people. I know, depending on where you live, you don't want people to know that you're practicing magic because of certain beliefs that are in that area. And I guess it really just depends on your own self-esteem and how you feel about yourself. So if you're feeling afraid of being judged by other people, then that's time to do some work on your self-esteem and your self-confidence, and do some inner work there. So that's where the positive shadow work can come in, where you go, okay, look, I'm tired of having these limiting beliefs. They're really not helping me. They're making me feel crappy, and I'd like to feel better. So now I'm going to go and look at how I can change these beliefs. And I'll talk about that actually when we, at the end of this. Might be easier if I do that. So if you're afraid of judgment or ridicule from others, you might also want to look at maybe your upbringing as well, and where you may have received judgments and ridicule in your childhood somewhere for things that maybe you were into or things you did, or maybe some quirk that you might have had, and realize that you're probably just expecting that again because you've had that experience, and so you're assuming you're going to continue to have that experience. Okay. Can one with time actually start seeing things like lottery numbers or see the future in a personal, real crystal ball? Does that really happen in real life? For some people, it does. For some people who are very visual, they can see things, yes. And people do dream of lottery numbers and win the lottery with them. So that does happen. And sometimes lottery winners report that they knew they were going to win, that something told them, or someone, they might have had a dream of somebody who told them, go win the lottery. So the connection between the psychic thing and winning the lottery does actually happen. It does actually happen. There's an actual YouTube channel that where this guy interviews people who've won the lottery, and so many of those lottery winners have said that they've had these experiences. If you can see lottery numbers in a crystal ball, or if you know somebody or you've heard about it, there would be people who can see them because they're clairvoyant. They see things. But that's that particular group of people. It doesn't mean we can all have that skill. It's understanding what your clair is and working with that. Okay, number 10, I'm unsure if I have the support or understanding of friends and family for my journey. And a lot of people don't have support from friends and family on a magical journey. You may have support from some people and not from others. And this can be a problem. Like if you're really on a spiritual path, if you're using it from a spiritual perspective, not just from a magical perspective, and you've got people that are maybe even opposed to it, or they laugh at it or scoff at it, it can make you feel like there's something missing in your life because you don't have that connection with those people. And that's often why people will then go and seek out other people who practice magic or witchcraft or whatever, in order just to feel that they can talk about these things with other like-minded people. So even if you don't have people who are supportive around you, it doesn't mean that you can't practice it. Even if you're scared that if they found out they'd laugh at you, doesn't mean that you can't practice it. If that's the case, that's when it's time to do the shadow work and look at where you've got the self-doubt, and try and build your self-esteem, build your self-confidence and your self-worth and your value, and go to work on yourself, looking at all those limiting beliefs and saying, you know, that's a belief. And even if the situation is true, so the situation would be that maybe even your partner doesn't believe in magic, right? That could be definitely a situation. It doesn't mean that the belief that you can't practice magic, or that it's not safe to practice magic, is necessarily true, just because that situation happens to be that situation. So always challenge your beliefs about the situation. It won't change the situation, but your beliefs about it may not be correct, if you know what I mean. This is where often we get caught up in things, is we think that the situation and the belief we have about the situation, that the belief is true, and it's not necessarily so. The situation is and always will be the situation, but the beliefs around it can always change and always be different. Okay, now some of the ways that you can deal with these limiting beliefs, of course, is to do your practice. Go and practice. Join the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy, or enroll in the Witch's Guide to Magic. I mean, the links to all of these are in the description field below this video. They're also on my website, mysterywitchschool.com, and do some formal training with a group of like-minded people for the Mystery Witch School 101, where we get together every 12 months, and not every 12 months, we get together every 2 weeks and join in on celebrating the new and full moons. We do guided meditations and then have a chat. And of course, the course itself is self-paced over a 12-month period, and you can take longer than that. It's just you can't take shorter than that, because it's about practicing and applying things every day and building your experience. And these things you can do, so you can look out for more formal education and practice around it. You can simply educate yourself and do more practices on meditation, concentration exercises, those things. And then if you find that self-doubt's still getting in the way, then it's time to look at working on limiting beliefs in general. I have another YouTube channel. It is called @SandraInmanTapping, and I'm just going to pop that in here. Some of you may not know that I have another YouTube channel. And it is where I do emotional freedom technique and tapping on all kinds of beliefs that can be in people's way. And I use the method called emotional freedom technique, which works with the acupressure, puncture meridians to calm the nervous system down while you start to question and change beliefs and feelings. And I find that this has probably, for me personally, been one of the best ways of working with beliefs and unhelpful feelings that result from that. Other things you can try are hypnotherapy audios. I also have a few of them on that Sandra Tapping channel as well. That they're more like meditations. They're not very long. They usually only go from maybe anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes long. That can help you change those beliefs. So that's listening to them for anywhere from 30 to 60 days every day. That's a way to change beliefs too, through repetition. There are other things you can do. You can use affirmations and reframes, where you're questioning the belief and going, okay, if your belief is, I don't deserve to get what I want through magic. And remember, that's just a belief. and you don't like that belief, you don't want it anymore, then you can change that and reframe that to, well, what if I can have what I want through magic and be safe at the same time? What if I'm allowed, I actually am allowed to do magic for what it is that I want and be safe at the same time? Start putting what ifs in front of all of these beliefs and challenging those beliefs, because it's just your subconscious mind believing something that it's been told in the past or assumed in the past. Doesn't necessarily mean it's true. So if you don't like the belief and you feel that it may be coming from uh, false information that you may have been told or you've assumed, then go in and challenge it. Go in and challenge it. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so that's the Sandra Inman tapping channel. So I've given you a few things here that you might probably I've given you too much here. If you do want to join the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy and learn witchcraft with me over that 12-month period where you're applying these things on a daily basis, learning energy work, learning to connect to yourself, connecting to the god and goddess, various different gods and goddesses, working with the seasonal cycles and rituals and the Sabbats, working with the lunar energies, working with Hecate. We work with Hecate for the lunar module, and connecting to yourself through magic. Then the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy is perfect for that. It will help you connect to your spirituality and this as a spiritual path. If what you're looking for is just magic, you just want to get good at magic. I just want to be good at magic. I just want to be able to give a good spell. Okay. The Witch's Guide to Magic is the best one for that. It's a smaller course. It's totally a DIY course. You do it yourself. And you still can ask me questions in that, because I do have sheets in there that, or emails that you can fill out and send me if you've got any questions. But it is a short course, and it focuses on the 4 different types of magic that most people are interested in: love and romance and friendship, prosperity and success, wellness and healing, and protection and defense. Okay, so you can go check those out. I've got links there. If you've got any questions, you can email me at sandra@mysterywitchschool.com. And I think we'll call it a day. Okay, because I've gone over an hour today. Awesome. Okay, everyone, blessed be. Have a wonderful week. I look forward to seeing you all again on a live next time. And question those beliefs about magic if they're not helping you, because you don't need them anymore.